This video presented by the latest Rooster Teeth documentary, Connected, coming April 15th for Rooster Teeth sponsors. Shut up. Start your free 30-day trial now at roosterteeth.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Patch. This week brought to you by SeatGeek. Where are my Seat Geeks at?
We're right there.
We're in seats and we're geeks. All right. We'll talk more about them later. This is The Patch. We're talking about video games. I'm Gus.
Ashley.
I like that I have like a shadow cast from the mic on my chest, and from the wide, it looks like I just spilled something all down the front of my shirt.
That's Ryan.
It looks like you vomited on yourself. It does look so typical dad mode.
Yeah, well, yeah. Then it
Somebody
wouldn't be my
vomited.
vomit.
Yeah.
That's the best dad mode. When you have 5 animals and 2 kids, it's here is vomit. Who is responsible? Shall we explore the house? Which one's looking shifty?
And also with Meg.
And Meg.
I said Meg.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
And Ryan.
They did
Right.
it in the order. It seemed like he just sort of like talked right over that part.
Ryan just
I'm sorry, I
derailed
did. I was
everything.
taking
I
with
was
my
also
vomit
singing
shirt.
a song while I said Meg. I went geeks and seats and Meg and geeks and
slipped
seats.
it
I
in
was
there.
trying to like put it in there.
So we're here to talk about video games, video game stuff. A lot going on this week. I'm a little upset that
Lots of video games.
I'm a little upset that the PS4 3.5 system only came out this morning. I was hoping to try it out last night. I thought it came out yesterday. I was gonna try out Remote Play on my Mac.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And have not had a chance to try it out yet.
Well, we
Has
can talk
anyone-
about that next week.
Any of you guys had a chance to try it out?
Negative.
Because one of the PlayStation Plus games of the month is Dead Star, which is developed by a local Austin studio, Armature Studios. And I played it at PSX and had a lot of fun with it. So I was hoping, I was like, oh, cool, I can play it and remote play it. It's not their fault. It's just I've been too busy.
Just
It's not
times.
their fault
have-
that you're too busy.
times.
I haven't had a chance to check it out yet.
Been so busy with them VRs and
Yeah, we're skipping the
Verse.
big drop this week. Come on, the Vive started shipping.
Did it? From what I hear, nobody's really
Well-
shipping anything yet.
Did
All right.
did you happen to see, I believe his last name, Kevin Wasilewski? I've done a couple news reads about him, and I believe that's how you say it. He is the CEO of Origin, and he tweeted, if you don't love your Vive, I will give you your money back.
Really?
Like, that's how
What?
much he believes in the Vive. And I saw him tweet it, and I wanted to tweet at him like, delete this, it's such a bad idea.
Someone is gonna say it. It doesn't matter
Right,
how good
it
it is.
doesn't matter how good something is. Like, don't tweet that.
no,
it-
hold on, no. You can tweet that all you want. Found his profile and claiming free money.
And the Vive and the Oculus have both launched to largely positive reviews. I was comparing
From the
reviews
people that could get them.
I was
It's
reading
really-
the reviews for each of those on Polygon, and I think Polygon gave the Oculus an 8.5 and the Vive an 8.0, which are solid scores.
What's shocking to me about that is
These are hardware reviews.
yeah, they're
Yes.
hardware reviews, and Oculus beat Vive minus the Oculus Touch.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. And I think the thing that they really highlighted on, and they said the difference was that the Oculus had a secure ecosystem with, quality control, whereas the Vive had just stuff put out via Steam. So there's a lot, you have the opportunity for less quality stuff to come out there.
Well,
But I mean, that's Valve's entire philosophy is like put a bunch of stuff out. You don't quality control it yourself. You let the community do that. They will determine what they like and don't like, and they will weight things up and down accordingly. That's why Steam is kind of a free for all that way.
also that doesn't take into account the fact that you can on your Oculus play all those Steam games in most cases. Like they're not really in a walled garden. You can absolutely go play Steam things.
And I think the only other thing they did was they dinged it slightly because it was slightly heavier than the Oculus.
Over
Yeah, I
time,
feel
that
like
sort of
that-
thing matters.
Yeah.
That does, yeah, absolutely. The I haven't tried the CV one, but I feel like it couldn't possibly be heavier.
You got
than
this
the
guy's
Vive.
quote?
Yeah, I got it. His tweet is, I'm telling you right now, buy an HTC Vive and I guarantee you will love it. If you don't, I will personally give you your money back.
Does that mean he will fly
no.
here and hand it?
Maybe
like,
Oh,
hand
he's
us
gonna
a pile
leave
of
it
money?
up. He's gonna leave it up until people actually can get one. Right now, they
Literally, the
can't.
first response is, if you're willing to do that, you should send me one. Just so I can get my money
Well,
back.
actually, okay. So I have an interesting thing that came up today with our. We have a couple of Vive Pres and we have a couple of the original dev kits. And this is one of the things that's been bugging me about Vive versus Oculus for a while now, is the way that the two ideologies go is that basically the Vive is a device that sits on your head that looks out at these lighthouses and spots them to tell where it is. Whereas the Oculus is a standing camera, essentially, that looks at the headset. So the Vive, by its nature, to work, kind of needs two lighthouses. They did not come up with a good solution whereby if you have a single lighthouse and you turn your head around, it loses you.
That's why you need two lighthouses, because
That's why you need two lighthouses.
One always has to be line of sight, essentially.
And one of mine broke. So
Now, was it just like chance circumstance? Is it delicately
It was
manufactured?
not-
It seems like a very short period of time for one of those to break.
Well, the thing is, they're basically high velocity rotating motors. And I'm not sure exactly what has gone wrong with it. It didn't get dropped, but all of a sudden it still shows up in Steam VR, but it will not report tracking information. And at first I thought it was maybe a sync issue because the two lighthouses have to communicate with each other as well. You can put it in a standalone mode. I threw it in standalone mode, and it's still, while it does show up in Steam VR, it reports no tracking information.
Have you tried turning it off and back on again?
Many times.
So
So,
I have a question. You're
Yeah.
saying that you need to be, because you guys were talking about this previous to on Game Club, you need to be line of sight with a lighthouse, but doesn't that really mean you need 4?
No, I mean, essentially, if you put it two in opposite corners of a room, I mean, you're pretty much covered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like diagonal
But so
across
like
from each
even
other.
if you're like, if it's here and I turn my head this way, it's still gonna
you're
get
fine.
me? Okay.
It's basically the sensors wrap all the way around the eyepiece. So it really, I have not had any problem with it losing tracking on me
Okay.
when both were functioning.
And you
But
remember-
as soon as one goes down,
But does it come with one or
comes
two?
with
two.
Comes with 2. Okay.
Remember
cool.
the
Okay,
old
that's good.
videos of showing like the Kinect blasting a room with infrared?
Yeah.
It's essentially the same thing,
Okay.
but two lighthouses. And so your room's getting blasted from two angles. So no matter where you turn, ideally your headset's covered.
So my concern is basically that they have built a higher failure rate system than the Oculus
Rex,
has.
there's so many different ways for it to fit. Like
There's-
there's double the amount of
need
ways.
Double the amazing. Well, I mean, and to be fair to them, though, so Oculus did take this into account, and the way the Oculus system, they've added basically tracking dots around the back of the headband, which means if you needed to replace your headband and you tried to do it with something non-stock, you would lose that.
Oh, no cool patterns on my headband.
And you can't cover them up. Yeah, so there's downsides.
I'm sure
to
you can
that
get
as well.
the cool patterns, just they'll have to incorporate the tracking
Sweet
dots. Yeah.
tracking dots.
And when eventually Oculus goes to, if they try and do more room scale and we'll have a secondary device, at least they don't have moving parts in them. Which that's my concern is how high the failure
Why
rate's going
does
to be
the
in one
lighthouse
lighthouses.
need the motors?
Because the way it actually is shooting out signals is I guess that's just their solution to creating. I don't know if it's using that just to make the pattern where it's using the spinning to create kind of sweeps of light.
It's basically a spinning mirror.
Yeah.
That the infrared is getting blasted onto, and then basically like think of it like, what is it, like a printer almost, just like coating
like
the
a
room
sprinkler,
left and
right?
right. Yeah, sprinkler.
So yeah, as soon as one of those goes down, you lose any ability to turn around.
That seems like though with a high velocity motor like that, it seems like the first thing a cat is gonna fuck up is like knocking it while it's in motion.
Well, that's
and
why you
then-
mount it to the wall.
Well, I'm just saying like,
But
or
then you have to
anybody
mount
bumping
shit to a
anything.
wall.
I mean, it's really designed to screw into your wall at about 8 feet up.
It comes and the
no.
I don't know about the final version of the Vive, but we received the pre, and the pre comes with wall mounts.
It
Like
does.
it's not a Valve made thing or an HTC made thing. It's like a wall mount you would buy at Home Depot.
Yeah, it looks exactly. It's
Just
a
throw
package
some
you
in
can get
there.
off
It's
Amazon.
good.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did, and you have a dangling power cable as well. So
It sounds
they're-
like a cat nightmare.
No, I mean again, the
That sounds
cat's
like
not
a
going to get it.
decoration nightmare.
But a dangling power cord?
I mean, the cat may
cat
go for
will
the
get
dangling
that.
power cord. Yeah. So
My
yeah.
life is a cat. Like everything needs to be cat proof.
But let me tell you something. A cat bites a power cord
me tell
once,
you something.
Let me
it's
tell you
not doing it
something,
again.
kid.
Let me tell you something. That's not fucking true. I have a cat and he eats cords for breakfast.
Really?
Yes. He
including
just took
live
out
power cords?
Oh, he'll eat anything. He'll chew on anything. I'm pretty sure that we're gonna find him fried at home one day. He literally just took down his second third $100 Xbox One headset
How'd he get another
last
one?
week. Yeah, Gavin stupidly
not powered,
let him.
though.
I know it's not powered,
Okay.
but it's just one of his collection of things that he chews. Gavin stupidly let him in his office, and he was like,
no.
"Look how well he's behaving," and he came back in, and the power cord was eaten. So.
Gavin has complained about this before, so
Yeah,
this is
so this is
entirely
another
on
one. Yeah.
Gavin's fault.
Is another one. He'll also chew things while you're using them. So like, oh, is your iPhone plugged in? He's gonna chew that power cable even though it's plugged in, and he's fine.
Get him something with,
I think he's only getting
maybe like
stronger.
1,000 volts, something that won't kill him, but will definitely tell him that he doesn't like
You know,
chewing
something
on
won't kill
cables.
him.
It's not the volts. It's,
I don't know.
surely
I don't
they
know.
get you.
I'm trying to remember what was it that didn't fry the kid in Jurassic Park when he went whoosh, off the
Oh,
thing?
the electric
That was
fence.
like 10,000, right? So
Oh,
like
yeah.
1,000. Is that going to kill a cat? I don't know.
I'm not experimenting with my cat.
Well, your home plug
report back to us.
in the wall at your house is 120 volts, but it's like 20 amps most likely, and that will hurt a human.
Okay, so maybe double it.
What? Well, you're like cooking
I
the cat.
thought she was
going to
say quarter it, double
Well,
it.
if all it's going to do to a human is go bzzz, then
You've never been
It's
shocked
not-
before,
it's not
have
a
you?
good-
That's what I'm realizing
well, look,
here.
I don't go
It's
around
the bzz
sticking
you
like
don't
forks
want.
into
The next time we
outlets or
play
anything.
this stupid Shocky game on Freeplay, let's invite Ashley because it's the most visceral, horrible experience.
Oh, I used to play those
And that
in
Shocky
arcades.
game is
They're
no
fun.
good.
I've shocked myself with wall electric outlets twice in my life, and that's 2 times too many.
Yes.
You
That
remember it
fucking
distinctly.
hurts. Yes.
Yes.
It is awful.
So you're saying that
Horrible.
a wall outlet should be enough to teach the cat better?
Let's have the cat play the fucking.
Here's a good example. I once was taking apart a VCR as a kid, as a dumb kid, so I plugged it in while I was doing it just to see how it looked when it was going, and I bridged the power terminals right where they come in, so it was basically straight up 120 volts, and
Okay.
it melted a divot into my screwdriver.
Wow.
Like there was
What happened to your body though?
Insulated screwdriver.
Oh,
And
that's
a
why he's with
fireball-
us today.
A fireball shot out and landed on my carpet, and thankfully did not ignite. But
Did the VCR ever work again?
it was not intended to. It was already messed up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I wasn't taking apart something good. But anyway, jumping back to the Vive for a second before we get off of it too far. Despite that objection, it is an amazing piece of technology.
Yeah, this
Like,
is the one
I
you've been
love
singing
them.
the praises of out of all of them.
Yeah.
I still, in my heart of hearts, I think I'm going to like Oculus better because of the lack of failure points.
Tell me how it's not going to make me ill though, because I can't not.
What was
vomit
the-
at that
You
thing.
need
What
to
was
come
the
try
game
it
that
now.
you played? What's the VR horror game you played that made
Affected.
you? It turned you
Affected.
green.
It made me absolutely miserable.
Well, again,
Affected.
you were having to move around without moving around. You need to come over. One of the games
I will
I can
come
talk
visit
about
you.
today is Job Simulator. I actually picked it up because the full versions of Job Simulator, Tilt Brush, and Fantastic Contraption went live with the launch of the Vive. So it's a really interesting game. It's not on rails. You pretty much just stand in one area
Look
and
around,
you can walk
yeah.
around and grab things and moving around. But I went into that game expecting that it would get boring real fast. And I don't know if it's just because VR is so new and special that there's not so many experiences out there that I've had that I'm jaded, but it's just still fun. It's not a complicated game. You just do very simple tasks.
Well, I think that's what we're going to need.
I mean, it's
as
Job
we
Simulator.
as we stair
Yeah.
step, wide acceptance of VR and figuring out what play styles are going to work and not going to work. This is what we have to start with. We have to start basic and then start building the fundamentals
Right.
based on that.
I saw it was a list of, I think it was a list of Oculus launch games. I was just going down saying, here's what they are. And the list also gives them a rating, like an intensity rating.
Yeah, Oculus
So that there
is-
are certain ones that are very like calm, relaxed, that sort of thing, and other VR experiences that are more intense. I noticed this because the one that I have the most interest in, which is Adrift, was listed as intense, and I was like, oh, maybe I need to train up to playing it then.
I think what they're
Bonnie.
basing that off of, Bonnie. They're basing that off of how much of the motion. Yeah, there's
That's
some
Job Simulator.
Job Simulator. There, by the way, in Job Simulator, at least the version
So you're a cook.
initially. No, there's 4 different jobs. There's auto mechanic, chef, office worker, and there's one more that's I haven't tried it yet. I forget what it is. So the auto mechanic and the chef. I've tried auto mechanic, chef, and office worker, and it's all just it gives you like basically a billboard with a bunch of tasks on it. Like, all right, call somebody, and you pick up the phone and you hit dial. And what's most interesting about it really is just how many things you can do that are not related in any way to the task you've been given. Just being able to pick up things and like throw them and dump liquids on things.
I mean, that's what we did with the demo immediately. Like, no, I don't think nobody does any objective. They immediately are just like, oh, how does this work? What does
Yeah.
this do? Let's try putting these things together.
It's
So
like,
it should really be called How to Get Fired Simulator.
yes, easily. I mean, largely
Unemployment
it's
simulator.
I get to make a mess in what interacts very like a real world, and then I don't have to clean it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like a very dad happy game, like a happy dad game. I do tasks, no one bothers me. I just get my tasks.
I'm in my special zone, and there's no children.
Well, you should also I wonder if that's a good game for kids to let them get all their mayhem out there,
That's
and then
not a
come
bad
back into the
idea.
real world where they're expected to behave. Trust
Only
me,
downside
you'll
is-
drive them right into living
Kids
in
will want to
VR.
run around. They're not
Yeah.
going to be handled being tethered very well.
Well, it does in
Or
most cases.
hilariously, they are going to handle it.
It'll end up very hilariously costing you another $800.
Just put them on a leash.
Did you see
I've
that?
seen people do that with their kids in public.
White people.
It's true.
Did you see that video? I think it was, I don't know if it was Valve or HTC. One of them put out, like, trying to show consumers what VR is like. They got a bunch of people together, put them in front of a green screen, and gave one person a VR headset, and then like showed everyone else a view of what it's like if they're
Like the
sitting there
mixed
along with them.
reality, yeah.
And I think that was a really good video, and it's a really good way to explain to someone this is what it's like. These are the kinds of experiences you can have.
You know what's really not a good way to explain to people what it is?
What?
The banner on Steam when they had VR launch day is a woman wearing the Vive setup, and she's crouched down on a flat digital grass field, talking to a tiny little pill bug looking robot.
Oh, I like that little dog.
That is the least epic thing you could show. It's like, I could go do that right now. Our technology could make that robot, and I have grass fields.
That's in the video, though. It's like you can like throw a fake stick, and the little rope pill dog
Show
goes
me
and gets
something
it.
amazing.
But
People
it's-
know that when you put fake animals in, that sells technology.
Right.
Connect. Do you remember Connectables
All right,
or
this
whatever
was
the damn
not a cute animal.
Well,
It's
thing
like a
was?
pill bug
The
with
thing
legs.
with this is it is
Which also
an
have legs.
activity that's familiar. So even if you've never used VR, you can understand the concept. It's you've knelt down and played with a small animal like a dog before. It's the same thing. I mean, I think it's smart of them to do it that way versus like showing someone with a sword in their hand fighting a dragon. Then you'd be like, that's like any other
it's
fucking
too
game.
disconnected for you. You're casting a wider net. Gamers already know what it is. Non-gamers are going to want something that feels like Gus said familiar. Also, I'd like to point out. Remember the movie Her? He played with a little bug.
I don't.
He played with a bug?
Well,
Yeah, remember it was like a little like person who was like, "Come on, idiot," and it was like a little like cutesy thing. What was it in Her? Anybody? I'll Google it.
I
It's
didn't.
fine.
I'm not even
remember
familiar with this work.
You don't like. You look so much like he looks in that movie that I just. Sorry, I see you. And
You
I
ever see
think
that
of
Photoshop?
Her.
Someone has
Yeah.
someone's photoshopped that when I had a mustache.
So on Steam's homepage right now, they've got like a whole like get ready thing, and they've got a bunch of different experiences that they'll show. It's where they show the person in VR like overlaid with sort of what they're seeing.
Yeah, that one that
Pretty
you saw.
cool.
That's
they've got a
budget
couple
cuts.
different ones. They've got irrational exuberance, the blue. So you can see that's the one where the whale comes up to the ship
yeah.
underwater that you're on. They've got Arizona Sunshine where you're like shooting a bunch of zombies, and you can see like there's
Arizona
people like
Sunshine.
you
There
can
is
see
a
the people on the
lot of zombie
couch,
shooters.
Drink.
but you can also
Yeah.
see the zombie stuff. It does. seem
There's
like
Hey bartender, can you make me an Arizona
Give me
Sunshine?
an Arizona
There's
Sunshine.
already
Ooh,
3
a
zombie
space
shooter
pirate
demos.
trainer.
That one's fun.
That's fun. That's a good
There's
one.
3 zombie shooter demos already available. It's like the Brookhaven experiment, Horde Z, and there's Arizona Sunshine. I feel like there's one more too.
Hordsy.
Horde Z.
Horde Z.
Peter,
Horde Z.
Horde Z.
on
That's
Twitter,
the first.
Peter Hayes F1 says that video absolutely sold VR to him.
It's an amazing
Man.
video.
Oh, he's cute.
The-
He's like
I
a
love how it's-
hologram.
Like a little hologram. I'll send this to the.
I
control.
love how it's how they worked in kind of basically AR in a sense, where you've got the human overlaid in the digital world and the couch of people there also represented, so you can see what it's like to interact.
Yeah, it's got to be tricky marketing that sort of thing because you're marketing like an experience in a technology that doesn't exist in the medium that you're marketing in. It's one of the things I always figured was a challenge for communicating 3D visuals and that sort of thing is you can't communicate the experience you get in 3D in 2D. That's why 3D matters, and it also makes it impossible to correctly show off in 2D. So like it's VR is another one of those things where like when I always hate the you've got to experience it or see it to believe it sort of shtick, but it's true.
Absolutely true. Yeah, until my favorite part of showing anybody the Vive is when you first put it on them and then you just hold up the controllers and they reach out and grab them. And they're like, "Ugh."
And it's like you
I
just
think
reached out and grabbed something you can't see.
In that
Right, or
video,
you can't
they,
see
pretty
they
cool.
demo
It's-
it like the next step. They toss someone a controller and then they reach out and grab it, which I don't know that you could actually do that. That seems a
oh
little...
no, you could.
I know the one-to-one tracking, but I feel like the controller's so weirdly shaped.
It is a very
You're not
strange shape.
expecting it.
Yeah.
You would not grab it securely unless you are familiar with how to hold it.
Yeah.
But it is a really cool demonstration of like being blind, like you're in a different world that like it has its one-to-one comparisons, but the second you put that headset on, you're not here anymore mentally. It's crazy.
I'm
You
never
also
It's
very
rarely,
quickly
yeah.
forget to care about looking like a total idiot.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think
you
we've
don't feel it at all when you're in it.
I think we've mentioned this before. Maybe it was on the RT podcast. I don't know if it was on the patch, but we're gonna, right now people make fun of someone with a headset on. I think we're gonna very quickly reach a point where it's like that's just commonplace. Like you don't make fun of someone doing that because it's like, oh yeah, they're just using a VR thing.
I
It's
think
like how
when it
people used to make fun of
looks-
people holding cell phones.
I guess I think when it looks a little less like there's a huge thing on your face. I've said this a few times on the patch, but I went to CES and they had an experience there with VR headsets, and it was like 45 people with VR headsets on riding a roller coaster, and they all look like idiots. Like you just look like so weird to be in a public environment.
Here's the thing.
I'm waiting for us all to like until that technology shrinks down to like Geordie LaForge style.
That's
Yeah,
gonna
give
be
me
worse,
that.
right? Like once they finally make it, well,
No,
I mean,
because then it
better,
becomes
but
fashion.
also worse.
You'll get it in all these different kinds of finishes, and you'll get different like metal gleams on the outside, and will all look super cool.
See, once it looks like glasses, then all of a sudden you've got all these people that just aren't like. At least right now, the VR headset gives you a basis for going, oh, that's why he's looking around like that. When it turns into just glasses, and you're just like,
Well,
No,
that's,
people get used to it because it's just like having a Bluetooth thing in your ear.
Well,
You know what I
it's
mean? When I
true,
see
but-
people talking to themselves, now I don't think, oh, that bitch is crazy.
But see,
I
the
think
problem I
they've got
have with
something I
that
can
is,
You think they're a
is
douchebag.
my question is that bitch crazy or is that bitch busy?
Right, but we think about it now as opposed to just assuming the person is crazy.
crazy
And I
busy.
think that VR will
There-
be the same thing.
There are other options besides crazy, is what we will learn.
Yes. And I think AR is really going to be the thing that makes people look like, what the hell is that guy doing when I'm taking things and I'm pinch zooming something you can't see?
Yeah,
like
I
the
think
idea of
that's
having a
going to be the more
conversation with somebody.
glasses thing.
Yeah, I think that's going to be
Yeah.
more glasses because especially like VR wouldn't work in a medium with glasses. I need to be able to not peek over the top of the VR.
this would be great when we have a whole new way to be rude to somebody. It's like, did you just put a TV screen over my face? What the fuck is
I
this?
cannot wait
It's
for that
like,
day.
hold on, it's like,
It'll be like an old Kids in the Hall skit. Like, are
and then you can look really
Yeah, just
interested
like
like
you,
that.
yeah.
are you crushing my head or are you interacting with a computer?
Oh, that would be an amazing
yeah.
AR game if you could be like this, and then it's like it beams a message to that person. They're like, "Your head's being crushed." Ah!
Oh my god. What if it can affect the way everything displays so you can be like, and then you just have a really tiny head to me and I'll just have any argument, like we'd be like, then I'll go,
Yeah, and you have like an earpiece that turns his voice into like, hey, stop it, what are you doing?
oh, like Bernie did with the bugs in the Contagion Let's Plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the future is me putting SpongeBob SquarePants right over your face while you're talking and just.
Let me read this thing here.
Yeah.
I want to remind everyone, this episode of The Patch is brought to you by SeatGeek. Have you ever been frustrated trying to buy tickets online? Most sites make it complicated, and they try to sneak in huge fees at checkout. That's why you need to try SeatGeek. They made it easier than ever for you to buy and sell sports and concert tickets. So they've taken all the hassle out of shopping for tickets. They pull all the tickets available on other sites into one place. So save time and never miss a deal. You can even set alerts for upcoming events, and SeatGeek will let you know if ticket prices fall. Even better, every ticket on SeatGeek is ranked based on value, so you can immediately find underpriced seats. And before you buy, you can use SeatGeek's detail maps to see the view from your seat. SeatGeek's always honest and upfront about prices. Show you the full ticket price from start to finish and never try to trick you with huge fees on the checkout page. Our listeners will get a $20 rebate after their first SeatGeek purchase. To get your $20 rebate after purchase, download the free SeatGeek app, go to settings and click add a promo code, enter promo code PATCH, and they'll send you $20 after you've made your first ticket purchase. And they've asked me to go ahead and make one right now. And our Wi-Fi sucks here, so hopefully this works. And I went ahead, I looked around a little earlier, and I found that there's going to be a Smashing Pumpkins concert in Austin on April 19th with Liz Phair opening. So I'm going to look at that. You can see there's different rates here. Green, yellow. I'm going to go with green. I'll do first balcony. And you can see the ratings there on the side for all the different ones. Here, I'll buy 2 tickets here. I'll take my wife. We'll have a romantic evening watching Smashing Pumpkins at Liz Phair. Oh, you can use Apple Pay. I didn't know that. All right, I'll just check out. Boom. I can't believe this. Our Wi-Fi is actually working. 2 tickets.
I'm
Done.
uncomfortable saying that
Oh.
much of your payment information.
Phone number required. This is the office number.
Okay, I'm so uncomfortable with. Yeah, thank you for taking that away.
We'll cut back to it in just a second. Pay.
That's how I pay
can-
with things.
you can show me Gus's payment details anytime.
Oh, I
And
thought you
now
were
I'm about
blue
tickets
skidooing.
here.
That you were like.
You can come back to it. I think it's done.
do.
Yep.
I don't know that one.
Successfully ordered 2 tickets. Oh, look, I even got a
What's
little
a blue skidoo?
Apple notification. View tickets.
What's Blue's Clues?
Boom, done. Oh, tickets pending. They'll come back in. But yeah, that's it. It's that easy. I just bought tickets to a concert. You were watching me. You almost got my phone number. Anyway, thanks to
The
SeatGeek
office
for
phone
sponsoring. You get a $20 rebate after your first purchase. Use promo code PATCH, and maybe I'll see you at the concert. Oh, wait, you know where I'm sitting now.
Idiot. Be honest though, are you gonna leave before Smashing Pumpkins? You just want to see Liz Fair, don't you?
I've seen Liz Fair before, so yeah. I mean, I saw.
I've been to Lilith Fair a couple times.
I went to Lilith Fair.
Of course you
I
did.
saw Lilith Fair in Austin.
Of course you went
I
to Lilith
saw,
Fair.
who was it? It was Sarah McLachlan, Erica Badu, Liz Fair, and someone else. I don't remember.
You know
Thick
they're
lineup.
bringing it back.
Are they?
They're supposed to like be bringing. I heard that somewhere. They're
I
bringing
saw
back Lilith Fair.
Lilith Fair at South Park Meadows
Of
back
course,
when it
yeah,
was
back in the day.
actually a music venue and not just a shopping center.
Well, South Park Meadows. I thought you were talking about. For some reason, I thought auditorium.
No,
Shores in my
down
head.
off
Yes.
of Slaughter. Like when it was just a giant field.
I'm
now
glad
it's-
everybody's in Austin.
Oh, it's the Austin part of the patch. Y'all know what we're
always
talking
throw a little
about.
bit in there.
So someone on Twitter said that. Hold on, where was this? They said that They say is this Peter Hayes?
Peter Hayes,
F1 on
two
Twitter
on the podcast.
says headsets will become normal? Question mark. Nobody could get used to Google Glass. Headsets won't be smaller than that. Bullshit. Eventually, they absolutely will be. Remember the first cell phones? All they could do is make a call. They were enormous. These horrendous things. Look at what we have for phones now. They're more powerful than any computer was in late 80s, whatever. And they're teeny tiny. Eventually, we'll absolutely get to that
we'll
point.
get there eventually. I think a better analogy is Google Glass. They never defined really what the best use for that was.
Yep.
It was like trying to create a solution to a problem that didn't exist. You look at a product like HoloLens, and it makes a lot more sense. And HoloLens, of course, is bigger. But, it's an entire computer
It's bigger for
mounted
now.
on your face. But you're right. As things shrink, like think about if... So right now, the way this and this is pure speculation. I have no idea if this would be the case. But if I was the person making HoloLens, I would think right now, first iteration is a computer on your face with displays. Why not make it glasses for your display and just have a small cord that goes to like something that clips onto your belt and your computer lives here?
Eventually, you're not even going to need that. I mean, it can be screen streaming.
Right, but I'm talking like stair stepping, where you're
Yes.
still keeping the computer with
Yes.
you, and then eventually you get to the point where maybe there's just wireless antennas in it, and it like via the cloud or via an Azure platform streams all of the data and processing to you.
I will say the thing though about Google Glass that I think a lot of people always say is that nobody could get used to Google Glass, and I don't think that's true. I don't think it was too obtrusive or it was too big or bulky for people to wear. I think it was a good size for a first tech. It was actually much smaller than you would think a first tech would be, and we had this thing happen when I was in the SourceFed office. Phil had Google Glass, and Lee, one of my co-hosts, didn't even notice he was wearing it and mooned him, and he was able to capture that video because that's how unobtrusive Google Glass became. Like, that's incredible for a first iteration technology like that. I think it failed for the reason that Gus pointed out, that there wasn't really a problem it was solving yet, but I don't think that people just it was too big and bulky and crazy for people to get used to.
Absolutely.
I submit my anecdotal evidence as mooning being the way that we know.
Do you think
I
that's
thought
the
that
first
a lot
time-
of people were also they're like, that idea is fine and everything, and once they turn it into actual glasses, or it can be a part of my glasses that I wear, or it's more like that so it doesn't look silly, I'll totally get it. I feel like a lot of people were waiting for at least a second or third generation, and also for it to, not cost $1,500 for something that was still super
and was
experimental.
by invite only and all sorts of different hurdles you had to leap. Also, I think a lot of people, like you were saying, Ash, are waiting for a second, third iteration, but they weren't really realizing if you're not supporting the first iteration, there may not be a second, third iteration of that technology. I think the thing that was most unsettling for me for Google Glass is you're constantly being recorded. You are everything you're saying to someone's face is being recorded.
It's going to
That's
be
a
like
huge
so
privacy
it's going to
issue.
be like that episode of Black Mirror.
Yes, it is with the contacts that record things.
It's almost like if you have a device like that, there should be a red light on it or
Yeah.
something, like with
It's
video
weird.
cameras.
I mean, nowadays, the thing we don't really think of is someone's phone could be recording in their pocket at all times, but we don't really think about things like that. But it's a little bit more visceral when it's video that could be on someone's face, it's
someone
just
you're
so
talking to,
strange.
like face to face,
face
right?
to face, and then they can play back what just happened, like when you show your bare ass.
It'd be good in an argument, like for couples. It's like shit's gonna go down.
Black
Get your
Mirror.
Google
It's like-
Glass.
Do you remember
Black
when you
Mirror?
said, but I never said that? Oh, yep.
There's an episode
That
of Black
control room,
Mirror.
let's play it back.
Absolutely. Well, and I mean, to a
They just
certain
need to-
extent, things like that already happen. The Nest, I constantly am winning arguments with our Nest at home. You know what I mean? Like, security cameras are the way of the future to win arguments.
They just need to put a projector on the other side. So they got the eyepiece on this side, and this side should just be a projector. So you can just like, wait, there it is.
Yep.
They already have that technology, like in phones, where they become like
Uh-huh.
mini projectors. You could put that in a Google Glass for sure.
Yeah. Second generation.
Maybe you'll even play games on them.
Who wants to play games on a Google Glass?
I'm just trying to bring it back around, man.
Well, no, I think it's related.
Tech is still
it's off
related.
the VR, AR discussion. Shame on you, Ryan.
Well, then,
Yeah,
was there a
you're a
game
piece
you
of
could
shit.
play on Google Glass?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't
It
know
was
what
like-
you could
it
do
was
on
like a
Google Glass.
search engine
No, come on. We're
on your
talking about
face.
AR in general. You couldn't use a projector off of Google Glass either, but that's what we're talking about,
That's
you smug
right.
prick.
That's right. You are a smug prick.
I am.
You know what? I saw somebody who said they tried HoloLens this past month and they weren't impressed.
Really?
And I think less of them as a person now.
It's really
It's
cool
the
technology.
fucking future.
Well-
So my HoloLens experience was pretty amazing.
It is the future on your face.
It's amazing. It is
Oh, that's another
legitimately
thing. They
amazing.
started shipping developer editions in the
Yeah,
last
for
week of that as
$3,000.
well.
$3,000.
It looks pretty
$3,000.
slick. It looks much slicker than the version I had on my face at E3 for
But
sure.
they do definitely need to do something about the FOV issues.
For
I mean,
sure.
it's amazing what it can do, and will be amazing when it comes to a full technology.
But
right
yeah,
now
like
they're halfway
the
there.
the edges of the field of view, they ruin the immersion a little bit.
When you hit them, when you're not in a controlled environment like Microsoft had at E3.
Mm-hmm.
Which is going to be the entire
Oh,
world.
absolutely. Absolutely. Hands down. I do want to talk about something I'm not sure if we put it in the document. I just, Ash and I did a story on it today about people being uncomfortable touching robots in their naughty places.
What?
What?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they did this
So-
study.
Yeah, about like robots that would ask you to grope them.
Yeah, they would say like
Go
point.
on. Go on.
Yeah, okay.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Let's start at the beginning here.
So,
Who's
right.
built a robot that's like grope me?
No,
Scientists.
it's not like that. These scientists.
Show me where the
obviously.
man touched you.
They built a robot that would say point or touch different parts of their body. So they
Okay.
started with like what they called highly accessible areas, like point to my nose,
Okay.
and people would
Or
point
like,
to it or
you know,
touch it.
legs or
Right.
whatever.
No big deal. Everybody was fine. And then it'd be like, touch my butt. And people would be like, oh, like their response time was much slower. And people were much more hesitant to touch non.
How
And they also had, like-
anatomically correct was this robot?
They're humanoid.
It's
It's one of those
humanoid.
NAO robots. Those are the ones that are like they're cute little.
But they're cutesy. They're
cute
not
little, like,
sexy
so
sexy
it doesn't
robots.
have like
but they're
faux skin or
humanoid
anything.
in
It
shape.
is just a
It's-
legitimate.
No, they're plastic.
It's
They're
an
not,
NAO robot.
they're
It's also
not
an-
pretending to be human.
Androgynous.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, okay.
it's just a cute little robot, but people would be like, it's humanoid, so people naturally empathize with it.
I would touch this robot's butt.
I wonder how
I
much it has to do with like verbiage. Like if you're like touch my boobie, that would be different than like touch my chest.
Touch my tits.
Well, but what if it's like I
spot the nipple.
I think more though if you get to like the thing the study talked about is that because, like Ashley said, because we empathize with things that are of humanoid nature, we feel like it's a boundary we're crossing when it's asking us to do something like that. If you take that further into the, I can't wait for this to be the future, the ex machina, like sort of realm where they have faux skin, they look like humans. I can't wait to touch those boobies.
I can't
Come
wait
on.
to at RTX. I want to cosplay as a now robot and walk around and be like, touch my butt.
touch my buttocks. Yeah, they see like it doesn't like it looks like too cute to grope. This
My butt requires human hands.
Does it get more or less creepy if a more realistic robot asks you to grope them? Or is it the idea of being asked by a child's toy is what that looks like? Being asked by a toy to grope it? Does
I
that make
agree.
it weird? Like more
That's
or
more
less
weird.
weird?
That's
That's
definitely
where-
more weird. If it were more humanoid, if it were like a sexy lady robot, I'd be much more apt to be like, touch that buttocks.
Yeah,
like,
the
I'd be
verbiage
about
there
it.
is. I mean, I made a joke, but seriously, I think that's very important. Is like if you're saying something that is more sexually connotated, if it's like grab my penis, or obviously it doesn't have one, but that's different than touch my crotch or touch my.
I see what you're saying. If
Man,
it's more
handle
of
my
like
junk.
What?
yeah. Slap my face, choke my.
If it's called me daddy, yeah, baby, yeah. You know how I like it. It's better than touching a wall socket.
Someone-
I think we've
Please
got,
cosplay this.
I think we have an episode title.
Call me dad.
choke me, call me daddy.
I don't think I did the choke me.
No, but it was a natural
episode of-
follow-on.
There was
It
an
is.
episode of like, oh God, I think it was Tales from the Crypt, where in the future we all had sex robots, but then a guy got stuck in his because he was like always fucking it. Like, do you remember that?
Oh, did he forget to
That's
lube
a
or
real,
something? You gotta
no,
lube
it's
the
like
sex
it comes
robot.
to life and it like traps him and he dies because his dick is stuck in the robot. I saw it like 20 years ago. I don't know.
That'd be great.
But,
Yeah.
like,
Oh shit, my
sure.
sex robot blue screen.
I'm
Somebody
pretty sure
reboot it
there
so I can get
Exactly.
out.
There's got to be like an emergency release.
There was like an old school goddess who
hey,
would
Rolla,
apparently
I need some
devour
emergency
people by
release.
having sex with them and sucking them in through her junk.
Oh,
It was in I only know
Oh.
this because I read American Gods, the Neil Gaiman book,
Yeah.
and that was one of the characters in
yeah.
it. Yeah, she would like have sex with them and then just like they'd get clamped in and just like sucked all in.
I remember buying that
I wonder
book
how
for
that
book
is to
club and not
go.
reading it.
You think that's a good way to go? Bad way to go?
Being inhaled
Would
through
you be
someone's
in
mouth
Yeah, but no,
Not their
through
mouth.
or vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Crotch
downstairs
first.
smell.
The crotch mouth.
The
If I could
pants
follow
smell.
my
Reverse
penis into a
birth.
vagina, if I could dive in whole bodied, I don't know, that'd be all right. Death by snoo snoo. Yeah.
Man, speaking of not talking about games,
But would you be okay? We're talking about tech
Hey,
here.
that's the ultimate game.
My thing is, I feel like we talk a lot about like VR sex and like VR sex toys and like having that to like touch with. I feel like it's less creepy to have a full size robot for the sex than to have just like a crotch that you fuck. Am I wrong?
Well, I mean, once if you put a headset on, it doesn't matter, right? Like,
guess.
like once
It's
you're
more
to
of the
the
tactile effect. at
Yeah,
that
like
point.
can I
It's
touch boobs and then like touch a stomach
right, like,
and like
what
just
if
the rest
what
of
if
the
you
body?
had interchangeable parts, right? Like you could like you had like a device that
Well-
like put boobs in front of you, or put a like your crotch. You're like, oh, I think I'll take the big fake boobs today.
device that
and,
would
yeah.
I'd rather
boobs in
just
front of
have
you.
like an extreme blow up doll, like a
You want
nicer
like a full figure.
No,
Yeah.
I'm on board because it's almost like it makes it seem like the rest of the body doesn't matter.
Yeah, you want the
Yeah.
in-between parts. Like, you
Right.
don't want to just go boob,
Like
vagina, boob, vagina,
the
boob,
whole
vagina.
package
Sometimes
is
you
the
want to
fun
slide
part.
all the way down.
Exactly. It feels like
Sometimes you do.
it's
You just want to skip from point to point, like
Yeah.
then
I'm
it's
not a journey kind of guy. I'm all about the destination.
then you're just gamifying. It's like left nipple,
Esther,
right
I'm
nipple,
home,
vagina.
take off the panties.
That's
That'd be great.
That's what you're looking for.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
like the
They're-
Friends episode where she's like 1, 2, 1, 7.
Well, I'm thinking like you could almost turn into like a version of DDR.
That's such a bad idea. Like, you don't want to be that kid who grew up like who thinks dancing is what DDR is, and now they're like trying to fuck a woman for
All
the
right,
first
woman,
time, and they're
remove
like,
clothes, prepare for sex.
Yeah. Power up complete.
I just feel like it's like the reason body pillows are so like popular is because it's like you feel like you have something full bodied to
Something
hug
to
as opposed to
snuggle.
just like a
Well, I
dick
don't
in
know.
your
Have you
face that you rest
Did you
on.
see the Scarlett Johansson-esque robot that somebody
Yeah,
made?
they spent like $1 billion
It was
on
like
it.
$50,000 or something.
I assumed that was an April Fool's joke. 'cause
No,
that's
it's real.
the day that I saw that article.
No, it is real. And someday maybe we'll make robots that don't move so weird. You know, it's like they've got.
Hello.
Yeah.
Although
well,
the
one,
Japanese
they're not
are starting to
weighted
get
right.
pretty damn close.
Oh,
with, like,
they
their,
are.
How are you feeling today? Like their Baymax.
But those, anytime they make a humanoid robot, somehow they forget to make it move like a human. Whereas like Asimov or some of those other walking robots have a much more natural kind of movement to them. But all those straight up just servo robots are like, hello.
See, there's this
Welcome to
Scarlett
Disneyland.
Johansson robot.
Yeah, no, that's creepy as shit.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I feel like that
Yeah.
is it. And also, I feel like this made me think of a very interesting thing. At what point does your likeness become not your likeness anymore? Like when someone makes a robot that's like they are fucking, that they've made in your likeness?
Right.
When do you
Well,
get
I
to
mean-
like where the legal
Well,
boundaries
even
there?
I mean, if you think about it, remember when Last of Us came out, there was controversy
Yeah.
about the character looking too much like Ellen Page.
Yeah. And Ellen Page herself was like, go fuck yourself, Last of Us.
Right. I mean, there are definitely
Because she
issues
was part
with that.
of Beyond Two
Yeah,
Souls,
Beyond
right?
Right.
Beyond Two
At the
Souls.
same time.
Mhm, at the same time.
That being said, if you do a side by side with the voice actress, it was also very reminiscent.
Yeah,
of the
they
voice
said
actress.
they said that it was based on Ashley Johnson when she was younger. Mm-hmm. So as far as I'm concerned, okay.
Yeah, the thing is, like, a lot of humans look the same.
They do.
They do. So,
Just like GTA 5 so clearly stole Lindsay Lohan's life and likeness.
I don't think we ever talked about that. Or
did.
about like,
no.
the update.
Uh-oh.
There was an
Oh,
update recently.
yeah, she's still going. They're still allowing her to
It
go
did
ahead
not get
with
thrown out of court. Yeah.
the lawsuit. Yeah.
yeah,
Which
and
they have, like, they paid a model, and she, like, can prove they paid her, and also Justine looks more like it than Lindsay Lohan, and
There's
everything
all.
else.
I mean, the fact that like the model provided documents.
Yeah.
But I think also what the other thing Lindsay Lohan said was there's the character in the game
Yeah.
Right,
who's based on her.
She's like the starlet with the eating disorder, right?
And she's like running from the paparazzi or
Right,
something.
like you have to film her having sex with someone in the courtyard, and then
I remember that part.
yeah, then she like gets in a car and tries to run away, and you have to chase her taking photos.
That's so fucked up. It's so fucked up that that's a game we play.
Well, it's
Is that
fucked
a
up
thing
that
that's
Lindsay
happened to her?
Lohan saw that and thought, that's me.
Is
It's
that
true. It's very true. Like, I
Wait a minute,
absolutely agree with
that's
you.
my life.
I empathize
absolutely
with this
agree
character
you.
so much.
I
It
do that
must be
every
me.
Tuesday.
That is so.
But wait, did that happen to Lindsay Lohan? Did someone catch her
No.
bone in
Not
the
as far as
somebody
I'm
behind-
aware.
All right.
She's not a. What is that lady's name? Erin Andrews, who got spied on?
Oh, yeah.
She's the one that
Aaron
got hotel peephole.
Yeah.
That's
and then
fucked
like
up.
Jennifer Aniston also
Yeah.
got papped on her own, topless in her own house.
Yeah, they're like on her patio or something,
Yeah.
right? They
Won a
use
bunch
like
of
a
money there.
telephoto lens.
Yeah, that's the thing that's so scary about the world.
Well, you think that's scary? Since we're on the subject of unsettling tech, apparently Samsung's just patented contact lenses with built-in cameras.
Oh, it's Black Mirror. Watch out, British Prime Minister, you're gonna have to fuck a pig soon because that's also in that show.
He's already in a lot of trouble.
He already did that. But I mean, so that doesn't mean necessarily they have like a working prototype. Like I could have done that.
No, they just patented
That's like,
it.
Fuck, I'm gonna start patenting obvious things.
You know what's really weird? If they have like a sex robot that has to like I'm sorry, I'm still on sex robots. But if
We
they have like a
jumped back.
sex
It's all right,
robot
it's all
that's
right,
like
we're with you.
responding to what you do, does that mean that there's a camera in the sex robot? And what if your sex cam robot footage leaked
What,
someday?
like it gets hacked?
Yeah, and then
just
someone's
don't connect
watching
it
you
to
fuck
Wi-Fi.
your robot.
Yeah, no, you just don't connect it to Wi-Fi. It's fine.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Here's a better thing. So what if your sex robot is actually powered by another person? Like, what if it's a multiplayer game?
See, that's the thing is like,
And there's
like
me on the other
do
side
that
playing
al-
DDR.
So
Those
your robot
already
reaches out and it's
exist,
like
though.
bop, 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 bop.
In a way, there's like vibrating panties that are controlled by remote control. So anyone, and I just read a BuzzFeed article where they were like, girls wear vibrating panties for a week and tell us what they think about it. And they found out that one remote controlled all the vibrating panties they bought. It's like the same. So then one was terrorizing the other girls wearing the vibrating panties. So, hey, if someone's close enough to your house, they could be controlling your sex robot.
It's like the best baby monitor ever.
It's like when you did the Mii's and you were terrorizing me.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
fun. That was a
Well,
good
like,
time.
same kind of thing.
That's
You
when
remember
we snuck by his house late at night with our 3DSs so that we'd street pass. And so that like he would just like at like 10 p.m. get street passed by us.
Yeah, I'd see the light go off and I'd be like, that's really weird.
Someone's in your bushes.
It's like Scream.
Well, and we were literally in the bushes. We considered resetting one of the 3DSs and making it a ghost. So that we could haunt his 3DS,
Could've been
but
like
we didn't want to
Fargo.
erase our own shit, and that just seemed like too much work.
That's really cute. That's a really cute idea.
There are circling things back around to games.
Yes.
There are a few things I do want to talk about. As
Right.
much as I love sex robots,
yeah, look
Like
at-
Quantum Break, we
have
should
to
probably
See
get
what
back
I
Quantum Break is
see
actually-
what I can't circle around to
Yeah.
sex robots.
And we've got an HDMI cable today, so I can show you guys my
we
farm.
can talk about Stardew Valley some more.
Yes.
But first I want to talk about Quantum Break.
Yes.
Have you finished it yet?
I have not. I've played.
haven't-
I'm in Act 3.
I
So-
haven't finished it, but liking it so far.
Okay, we mentioned this before. I feel obligated to say it again. We were provided digital codes to
Right.
download the game, and so we played it early. And you should know that. We talked about it before the game was out. And I finally finished it over the weekend.
No, this is just episode 1, right?
I finished the whole game.
Oh, the whole game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole thing. Reviews are out, embargo's up.
The,
So
the reviews are largely positive. Of course, like we've mentioned before, there's a few like negative outliers, but I think the reviews are for the most part fair. I mean, it's not the greatest game in the world. I think on Metacritic it's like hovering around 78 if I remember right.
Yeah, 78, 79, I think, when I checked earlier.
Which is what I would think, 7.5 to 8 somewhere. I mean, I know we don't review, but it's like
Right.
Yeah.
that seems right to me. I feel like the idea for the game was really interesting. I know I have some friends who take exception to the way the time machine works, which I think is a weird thing to complain about. I thought
Really? Why?
They said they think that the whole like walk clockwise to go into the future premise is stupid. I'm like, well, how else do you want to do it?
Metacritic
It's all-
score
it's a time machine.
78
Yeah.
currently.
So
It makes no sense either way.
Yeah, exactly.
and it's a lot of people or some
That's
of the,
not how Cronins work.
some of the negative points I've seen talk about how they think that the video quality on the live action piece is like shitty.
Really?
Well,
Well,
like second
there's
rate?
so there's an element of that I actually do get because I was watching the first live action episode with Bernie and he had to leave because it has. I stopped noticing it because it's present in the game a whole bunch. Almost like the glitches, the artifacts, like
Oh, right, yeah.
the polygonal bits that sort of just signify, I don't know, time being weird, whatever. That's in the live action part
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, and sometimes people move weird.
Right, and I figured that's how they sort of like stitch together and hide the different elements depending on what choices you made, that it's there to sort of just heal it over a little bit. So I didn't really notice it too much. I didn't mind, but it drove Bernie up the wall.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was an intentional creative decision.
I think so too. I mean, it kept the aesthetic through all the way for sure.
I'll be interested to see how someone like Gavin relates to that, because we watched something on Netflix and he'll notice like the little stutter that Netflix does and he can't watch it.
Oh, well, this is not that subtle. So he will definitely notice it.
The game also does it, and I don't know if that's the game. It's one of those things where occasionally the game will go, and I'm like, did the game just stutter, or is that an artistic choice?
I've noticed it, and I think I've noticed both.
Yeah.
Some that are like, that was artistic, and some like, I don't.
Also, I
think
wish
that was
they
right.
didn't do the film grain kind of effect in the in-game visuals.
I think the biggest problem I have with the game, like as far as the gameplay goes, is I feel like movement is kind of swimmy, and
I feel like that too.
The cover
Movement and
mechanic
shooting.
isn't exactly very good. It's like
You just go
I'm
near something,
in
yeah.
cover, and now wait, I'm not. It's like you're just kind of like sliding around a bit, and it's not like the game's like a heavy shooter or anything, but when you are in shooter mode, it's like
You expect it to
needs to be a little tighter,
feel a little bit more
Yeah.
like it. That's, from a technical standpoint, that's really my only complaint thus far. That, and it's actually a little bit weird to me that the characters are acted out by real people, like, you know, Littlefinger and that guy who is Iceman, and like those other people.
Sean Ashmore?
Yeah, sure.
One of the Ashmores.
Unless it's his
And it
brother.
is
I don't
Ashmore
know.
Who
or
knows?
something.
They're
And,
basically the
his
fucking
clone.
Olsen twins. at
You know,
this
and
point.
it's just a little bit weird to me. Like, I get a little uncanny valley there. They're very, very good. But there's just a little bit to me where I'm like, I know that they're not quite there yet. But I don't find I mind it too much.
I think we're at the opposite end of the uncanny valley
like
with this
climbing
game,
up
right?
out of
It's
it.
like almost out of it. It's like, okay, yeah, those they're decent. Yeah, it's,
Well, with the exception of the fact that they still haven't really figured out a good way to make in-game animations look less in-game animation-y. Like the characters are all like, well, your hero character is always standing at kind of like this like half kind of sort of hero crouch sort of thing.
he's half cocked,
And
ready to rock.
You could, yeah, he definitely is, because it's meant to be played with the camera behind him. If you circle around, he's doing like this weird like Cro-Magnon like giant forehead like
right. I think it's
thing all the
because
time.
They're using that same asset a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like there's not like a gameplay asset versus like a hero cinematic.
Right.
It's like the same one. And
will-
then no spoiler, but I felt like the end was kind of a letdown for me.
Okay.
I felt
Well, there are basically several options along the way, so it may be that there are different endings.
Yeah,
No.
I'm in
No,
fact,
is
that's
that
one
what
of
it
the-
I'm
Okay.
talking like literally the last 2 seconds.
Got
like,
it, okay.
Boom, and it's like, yeah.
That's one of the things that interests me the most. Like, I can see myself replaying the game in a couple different ways to see how all of those choices tie into the live action stuff. I just really want to see how they ended up implementing that.
And there are achievements based on doing that too, so that it really encourages you to do both.
Are you saying, Gus, that it's like a split, but then it comes back down to one?
So throughout the narrative, throughout the whole time you're playing the game, there is this. The game plays like you are retelling this story. The main character is being interviewed by another character, and it's kind of saying, "Yeah, and that's when we went and we did this, and then that's when we went and did that." And then there's for that, there's no resolution as to what that interview is.
Okay.
It's like this has kind of been going on. It's like, well, what was that?
So there's not this idea of like, because normally when things do that, they're interviewing somebody then about the past, then like halfway through we pick up at present,
Right.
then we go forward. That doesn't happen.
doesn't happen.
Okay.
So it's all found footage, sort of.
And
I mean, in
is
the
it-
sense that it's got a lot of like, it's got a lot of stuff that you find that is like offline view. Like, this is the diary of this character, and you can just listen to what he was thinking.
And those
along
are
the way.
really long. Some of them
are
It's
quite
like
long.
a lot of text to go
It's
through.
not like a voxophone I can play in the background or anything.
No, it's like you got to sit here and like scroll through pages.
Some of them,
pages of stuff.
some of them are actually voiced, so you
Yeah.
can listen to
And-
it. But yeah, you can't
and
listen and play.
It's not like you have to read them. I mean, it's largely
It's
backstory.
supplemental.
Yeah.
It's supplemental. Like if you really want to get soaked into the universe, you would do it. I read most of them that were reasonable length, but then there were some that were really long. I'm not gonna
Setting
read
up
all
for a
that.
sequel, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do got to ask,
for
though,
sure.
there's one thing about this game that is very significant, and that is that it is largely, the live action cutscenes are a huge part of the game. I mean, I would say mandatory to playing the game if you want any
Yeah,
idea what's
whoever
going on.
said that you don't have to watch those Sure, I mean, they might be like a skippable cutscene. Like, yeah, you don't have to watch it, but if you don't, you're gonna be lost as fuck.
I mean, there's
You would
probably
not
not a
know
lot of replay. Like the second time through, unless you pick a different choice, you probably wouldn't need to watch it.
Which
But why would you go back
through
through
it
and play
except
the same?
well, again, that means essentially you've got, because every choice is essentially binary, and I don't know that there's that big of a difference.
Also,
it's like good path,
you
bad
would
path.
also conceivably see differences based on items you find in game.
True.
Because sometimes you find
That's
items
very
in game.
small, though.
Right, but it's a
something.
change.
I
mean,
mean,
like-
say
in
there's
the
something
video.
like 40 different permeations of the live action stuff.
I believe it. Well, that's what I'm getting at, though.
Imagine shooting that though. You're
So
like, all right,
all
do
the
it
live
again, but if
action-
you found the cup that was in the third room.
Well, they just cut it together differently. Like, so if you
That's
didn't,
what she
then
was
that
saying.
scene
Like
is just
Ash
not
was
there.
saying, they like stitched the different elements together.
But all of that live action stuff lives online. So it streams to you. You don't have it on your disc, which means that at some point in the future, it could not be there.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
what's the
interesting. So
longevity
if
of
the
this
game
game?
comes, if it's like, oh, I want to replay it 20 years from now.
Then you can't.
conceivably
Video's
even
on.
5 years from
Yeah,
now.
I mean, it would be
That's
like
interesting.
selling a multiplayer game and then the servers are offline.
Yeah, it's like,
Right.
you know, an MMO, when they shut the servers down, like, that game is gone. It
Half
doesn't
the
matter.
game
That's
is
such a
no
bummer
longer there.
though, because it's like a narrative game. It's not a multiplayer game. It's not an MMO. It should have a supplemental disc that you could keep that. Like, what
Tell
if you're
me
a
about
big
It is
fan of the
79
game?
gigabytes.
Right.
Which I think they are going to have a PC option where you
Are
can
they?
download
Right,
it.
'cause they were saying they
now, I
weren't.
think there is an option, oddly enough, I think they were going to have an option in that you could download it on Xbox.
Right, but not PC.
But
Oh,
not
is it Xbox?
PC.
Okay, I think
Right.
it went
Yeah,
one
that's
way or
correct.
the other.
Yeah, but not PC, which makes no fucking sense.
I think it's
Who's
because on
got
PC
80
it's easier to
gigs of-
extract the data. It's easier to extract the video.
But
That's
still,
why they don't want to do
if
it.
you're making things bad just for pirates, you're also making things bad for your
have
paying customers.
pirates- do you
Also,
see the-
pirates are even better because they get
They get the
eye
eye patch.
patches.
Yeah,
Like, like all their characters look radical. They all look like
Radical,
Yeah.
Yeah,
radical.
look at
They don't
them.
have
Look at
eye
them. They got
patches.
sweet eye patches.
Is
I
that the
love it.
only thing that's different in the game, or does it like at some point, like you know, some games like Earthbound had the greatest one where it let you get all the way to the end, but then it like fucked you over in the boss fight at the
Where
very
it's, like,
end.
impossible or
Yeah,
something.
you couldn't beat it.
I don't know. That'd be really awesome if they did
Although
that. Oh,
Gavin brought up a really good point when I was telling him about that. I was like, it's so cool. It keeps you from finishing the boss fight. He's like, yeah, but you played the whole fucking game. Like, you,
yeah,
like,
but you don't. It's like you lack that resolution.
yeah.
don't get the end.
But like he's like, yeah, but you got 99% of it for free. Like I don't
And
see
then
the
you go to
point.
YouTube and there's the end of it.
Yep.
well,
Got
it was
it.
1994 or
Also,
whatever. the game came out.
the final one last complaint. The final boss fight in the game is counterintuitive. It's confusing. I didn't know how to finish the game. I had to ask someone else who had finished the game, and there weren't many people because it was before the game came out. I had to ask someone else who I knew had the game. It was like, how do you finish this game? Because there's like a mechanic that does not exist anywhere else in the game. That finally at the last battle, it's like, okay, this is happening. You're like, what?
Jeremy also, I remember getting stuck at one point where you had to do basically. It plays with a lot of different kinds of time issues. Like sometimes you'll need information that happened in the past, and so you'll come across a little moment that you can replay from history, essentially. And he kept coming across this one moment that said, "Well, I need to go." He needed a door key, and it was like, "Well, where do I get this key code?" And it's like, "Well, here's a historical moment, and you can
No,
watch it."
he
and
was
he's
just
like,
calling you dorky.
it could be. I need a huge dork to get through this door. I guess you could knock it down with a whale foul.
I knew that whale dick was still coming. I was like, he's not going to let the whale dick pass.
Still coming.
Go
But yeah, no, apparently you had to like follow the guys around, and like there was
Oh,
a whole
yeah.
other area where it's like, oh, this is where he puts the code in,
That-
but it was not intuitive.
That was also really confusing. I remember this point because it's like you interact with them in one spot, and then within a very limited amount of time, you have to go to their next spot, and there was no explanation of that. That was maybe the second most frustrating part of the game for me.
I mean, overall, it's an okay shooter. It's an interesting shooter, I guess. It's an okay platformer, I guess, because that's where I think it's weakest. Is you do a lot of go find stuff. It's one of those things where it's like, I mean, there's a bunch of collectibles you don't really have to have, but if you're a completionist and if you want that extra bit of story, including one very strange fanfic. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
There's
Yeah.
a fanfic in the game that is just bizarre. But you spend a lot of time like just roaming around the level, and he will just, you can walk up to something. It's like, well, this might be something I could jump on. Thunk.
Guess
All
not.
right, no.
I mean, they do like the Uncharted thing, where it's like you look for objects that are yellow in the environment. You
Yeah.
know, it's like there's a color that stands out, and when you see that color, you know, it's like, oh, I probably have to jump on that or get
It does
over
help that you can use your time sight power to
I was
identify them. They show up.
I would just call it the Spidey sense.
There you go.
They also have an interesting feature in that game, an option that allows you to disable copyrighted music. So if you're
Yeah.
streaming the game, you don't
that's
get a
cool.
copyright strike.
That's really cool.
It is
But
cool that that's becoming more and more a part of games.
a sign of things to come.
Is it cool or is it terrifying?
It's terrifying to me.
both. I mean, but it's also like if you can't, like, if your choice is to then just not have any copyrighted music in the game,
Or music, period.
or make a way that gamers can still do what they want to do without getting all the DMCA takedowns, which you'll probably get blamed for, do it.
I will say I was surprised by at least one song in the
Yeah,
game.
there are. I think there's one or two times you're like, oh, okay,
All
that
right,
song.
this is this game.
We'll do it.
For no reason. Like
No
it,
reason.
it makes no sense. She's like, fuck it, my car, my music.
Yeah, that's exactly what the character says. And I think people were asking on Twitter how long it is. I think it took me like 15 hours to beat, maybe, if I had to guess. I don't know.
So it's like
Yeah, and the- and the-
0.95 kindred spirits on the roof.
Yeah.
And the live action is pretty significant portion of
Each episode is about 25 minutes long. I tried to time them.
Yeah, they're
that's
they're
really
sit
cool.
down and watch episodes.
And I
I
think
will-
there's a total of, I don't remember, 4 or 5 of them, something like that.
I know we're talking also about other games we played this week, and just very quickly, I will touch back on, you were talking about music and games. Still playing BioShock Infinite with Gav. So I'm always
love the
like,
music in that
I
game.
I'm
great
walking
music.
around and I'm like, because he loves 80s, it's all spoilers, it's all 80s. Should have played it 500 years ago when
80s
it came out.
acapella.
And I'm always like, hey, Tears for Fears, are you excited? You like this game, don't you? Okay, we'll just keep going.
Yeah, music was probably my favorite part of that game.
Yeah, it's
really
it's such a great experience to watch someone else experience that game for the first time. Like it's so much fun to watch. We just got past the point at which you enter a different, like you enter a tear, so now you're in a completely different reality. And Gavin's like, are we gonna run into our own versions of ourselves? What are we doing in here? Does our own time not have us anymore? Like just all the different questions.
Question:
is so
Did
cool.
you get sucked into the tear dick first?
Oh, well, I play Booker, so yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Dick
all
Booker's
right.
always dick first.
Although it's weird because it's Elizabeth's chair, so I don't want to
Oh.
weird dick first.
Hey.
For those of you who play.
So,
So going dick first in her gash.
No, not Booker's going dick first into Elizabeth's gash. Ugh,
I had to.
sick fuck.
The other game, so we're doing Game Club today. We're going to follow up with Kindred Spirits on the Roof. The other game I played a bit of this week was Stardew Valley. Based on
Yes,
how much
it's
you
also
talked
been
about
taking
it.
over our house as well.
So here's the problem I had with it. I played.
I'm sorry. What
She's
problems?
ready.
I played Kindred Spirits on the Roof, which you're going to find out in a little while. I was not a fan of. And so, like, as a palate cleanser, I decided I'm going to start up Stardew Valley, and it starts a little slow. And I just couldn't get over the hump. I was just like, I needed to play something fast paced
Well,
or something.
let me
something
show you
better.
what your life could look like in as little as 3 summers.
Yeah, that's you
How
don't
many
wanna
hours
go
did you put in
from
this?
Kindred
Steam
Spirits
says
to
I'm like
Stardew Valley.
95 hours, but I think that I might have left it running without me for a little while. So, welcome to my farm. This is Joe the farm.
Look
I
at all those
also-
kegerators.
I'm a brewer now.
We're brewing people.
Yeah.
I think my farm's called something with butts.
Of course
Something
not?
with butts. Is
Oh,
it
and,
literally
uh,
something with
Might
butts?
be
or-
butt
I just
ton
want
or
to
something.
tell you that
Where's
Gus,
Joe the cat?
Gavin has started playing Stardew Valley, which means that he's become a liar.
Oh, there's Joe the cat.
There he
He's
is.
become
not
a
here.
liar?
Yeah, he's become a liar. So I'll be like, are you coming to bed at like 9 o'clock because I go to sleep early because I'm old? And Gavin will be like, oh yeah, I'll be right in. And then at like 1 a.m. he'll come in because he was playing fucking Stardew Valley.
Well, see, here's the problem with this game is like time gets away from you because you just go like, oh, I'm just going to do one more day. One more day doesn't feel significant until you take into account that that's like 15 or 20 minutes. Hey, look at my
Chickens.
crazy chicken.
Kill it.
You like my, no, I like this chicken.
The gray one?
Yeah.
Eat
Is
it.
that a duck up there with a green head?
Yes, that's
Kill
my
it.
duck.
Kill it.
I'm not killing my duck.
Gus demands sacrifice.
I'm just going to harvest my eggs and we'll all be happy.
Are there any geese? Can you force feed them and make foie gras?
No, what's
Kick
wrong
the duck.
with you?
Kick it.
Love me, duck.
Oh, use the scissors. Cut its head off.
Oh yeah, I like where this is going.
You guys are crazy.
Cut off the tails from those
Oh,
bunnies.
get those bunny tails. They were like,
All right,
they
we're gonna
harvested their bunnies.
Wear
get out
its
of here
skin.
and
Go
away
to
from
town
these
with it.
poor animals.
Yeah,
But-
so before he left for
This is one of the more significant parts
Claim
of my
you're the
farm.
lord of the
I just want
ducks.
to point out.
Sorry, go ahead.
You'd be forgiven for not understanding the significance of this enormous crop that I have. Those are all iridium sprinklers.
Okay.
I'm upgrading slowly.
But it's
And, like,
raining.
but
this
they're
is,
raining.
This is the way. Yeah, so I don't need them today. It's unfortunate.
Okay.
But this is the way this rabbit hole goes. Is you like first you have to water all your crops manually, and then eventually you can start building a sprinkler that will water the squares above, below, left, and right. So then it waters 4 squares, saves you a little bit of work. Then you upgrade to these ones that will do like the square of 8 around them. And if you work really hard, you get all the way to the bottom of a 120 level mine, go to the desert, and then get like a couple dozen levels into that. You start getting iridium, and you can make these.
What's over to the left? It looked like you had
Oh, you have
either
a witch?
it's either a sandworm or a giant cloth anus.
This lady?
no,
this-
that thing down there. That's just like.
Oh, I see the anus.
I'm not seeing. Oh,
That's
are you
pretty
talking about?
sphinctery.
That thing at
Are you
the
talking
end.
about my wool?
Yeah, it looks like a sarlacc pit.
No,
I
that's
don't even know what
cloth.
you're talking about.
That's
She's
that's
clicking on
cloth
it.
that I just
Yeah.
harvested.
It's like a trimmer,
I'm disappointed.
like the worm from Tremors. What are those called? Graboids.
Look at this though. You probably this is gonna be
I
new
just
to you
watched it last
if
week.
you're pretty early on, eventually you get these little dudes you do at the community center and like you make a bunch of stuff for them and they'll repair your greenhouse so you can do any and all crops all seasons. I'm telling you right now, if you want a game breaking like money maker, you go to the desert, you get starfruit, and then you turn it into wine. Shit sells for a ton of money.
Starfruit wine sounds
You're a
good.
Starfruit
vintner?
wine does sound delicious.
can be.
Yeah, I noticed because the greenhouse is broken when you start the game, and so I looked up. Gav was like so proud of his farm. He's like, "Look at my farm." And I was like, "What's that piece of shit in the corner?" And he's like, "It's a greenhouse. It's broken. I'm working on it."
I always figured that someone would probably move in there.
When he just left on a trip and he said, "While I'm gone, will you please play Stardew Valley so we can play together when I get back?"
Can
Hey,
you
there is
fuck his
multiplayer
farm up
coming
while
up.
he's gone?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet I can.
You should fucking set it on fire.
I bet you I
All right.
can.
Well, we got to wrap this up. So
Make a copy
But
of his
that
save
was my
file and
farm.
Do you
just burn
think our
it down.
relationship
Don't.
will last? Because I bet it won't.
let's find out.
Make a copy of your save,
Next
save
episode
file
of
and
The
do it. Absolutely do it.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Burn it to the ground.
We'll check out Game
Salt
Club.
the earth so nothing
We'll
will
talk about
grow.
Good spirits on the roof, and we'll see you guys next week.
Leave the heads of his
I
animals
built
around.
My own farm to.